Right. All right. What's
You
up?
plan
What's
on
up?
getting
What's up?
Spider-Man?
Yeah, dude. I've been hearing everybody just talking all this great stuff. You know what? I ended up catching myself doing the YouTube, watching the full amount, all the cinematics or whatever. I only got halfway through it, but it looks pretty sharp.
Yeah, man.
Looks pretty sharp.
Yeah.
You gonna get it or no?
Yeah, I'm gonna end up getting it eventually. But I
Yeah.
mean, like I was talking to Rob yesterday. He paid like $80 for it. I'm like, I don't know if I'm paying like that price
$80.
point, dude. I don't even know, dude. I'm not gonna
This
lie.
this price gouging for video games
But that's
nowadays,
like
dude,
you
is
get like all like the skins and all that shit, so it might be worth it. I don't know.
yeah. You end up spending like $300, $400 on a video game nowadays, man. It's nuts.
That's what it is,
It's
man. That's
nuts.
what it is.
It's like if I ever won the lottery, I'd buy all the Fortnite skins and I wouldn't know what to do with the rest of the money. That's so funny, dude. Oh man, let's go. Let's do this. What is up? Welcome back. It is Friday night, and you're here at the Average Boys Podcast. It's your boy Crispy, and I'm here with the legendary, my co-host Brian B from New
Legendary.
Jersey. What is up, my brother?
Nice. I've
How's it
never
going?
been called. Listen, I've been called every name under the sun except for legendary. So I will take that,
Legendary, man.
bro. I will
Legendary. You're
take
the
that,
man.
yo.
You're the man. I tell
I
you,
will
I've,
take
I've
that.
always liked your voice. When it comes to all the radio stuff that you do, and it's you're gonna go way farther than I am in this, man. I already
I
know
won't say
that.
that. Don't say that. Don't say that at all.
How's it going? How's it going? How's your week?
Good, man. I can't complain. I mean, even if I wanted to complain, no one would care. But no, man, everything's
Yeah.
good. Everything's good. A little tired, but we're good. How about yourself, man? How was your week?
Good, good. Been working on a logo, some freelance graphics design stuff. Today, you'll notice we started a little early, or actually a little late. Had a good friend of mine's birthday party. Joe, Deadpool Joe from South Texas Comic Con. Joe, he good guy. Birthday party that he wanted to host. It's his 40th, so real big on him. So shout out to Joe. Happy birthday, man. Thank you for the invite. But it started off super late and needed to get going as soon as I could and had to kind of push the show back a little bit, but we're going to do it at the same time. So we'll be here till 11 o'clock, maybe a little bit earlier if we can get through everything. It's not really too much stuff that we've been covering this week, so it's kind of a little bit slow, but we do got some important things to talk about. We didn't have you on the show last week, so we didn't get to talk about Gen V, didn't get to talk about the Loki show. So we'll be catching up with stuff like that. Robert, good to see you in the comment section. Our boy
Always,
Biggie,
always.
John from Corpus Christi, my man, my best friend from since like what junior high, 7th, 8th grade. Shout out to Big John, Corpus Christi. Good to see you, my man. How's it going? But yeah, so this week was pretty cool. Brian, actually, in your neck of the woods, they had probably one of the biggest conventions, that legendary, as we said earlier, legendary conventions. They had New York Comic Con. Did you get to hear anything or get to see like anything in the neighborhoods, people getting excited for it or whatnot?
Well, we were speaking earlier, and I mean, I have to agree with you. Honestly, it was Comic Con, but you would not have noticed because like no one's really talking about anything. The only thing that I personally was looking forward to, and I think I said it on the show previously,
Previously.
was the Dragon Ball Z
Yeah.
announcement. That was a big letdown. I'm sorry for anyone that was
You know what?
excited for that.
As a
Yeah.
matter of fact, Alex, one of our guys in the comment section, one of our homies, he actually was like, "Yo, has Brian said anything about the Dragon Ball announcement?" And I was like, "Well, yeah, he said some stuff, but he'll probably want to talk about it on the show." So tell us about the announcement from Dragon Ball, what they're going forward, and how you feel about what it's all about.
So it was originally leaked prior what the announcement was going to be, and
Okay.
just me and my friends were just always, I don't say always, but we were just hoping that it was
Just a
just a
rumor or something.
rumor, yeah, just a rumor, or at the very least that they were going to do this web series, and then at the end of the announcement they were going to do like a reveal for Super 2. But we didn't get Super 2 announcement.
Oh
We
shit.
definitely just got the Dragon Ball Magic trailer, I guess, teaser if you want to call it. And I mean, needless to say, it really flipped the Dragon Ball community upside down because and mind you, we knew this was coming,
Oh
but for some
no.
reason, just a lot of people were just hoping it was bullshit. But it wasn't bullshit, and Twitter was on fire. Did you catch any of the backlash for that at
Well, I
all,
mean,
or
I
do you know what I'm
heard
talking
some of
about?
it, right? Of course, like I guess because of the horror stories from GT, I guess. Like that's
Mhm,
kind of what I was getting on the bottom end, but a lot of people that aren't familiar with it, they won't get that reference.
mhm.
And the thing is like you being you're I mean, I'm a Dragon Ball Z fan too, but like I've kind of let you take the reins on it because I know that you're like a really big fan of the Dragon Ball series. Like you're like pretty diehard about the series more than I am. So like for me, GT wasn't bad, but I know it wasn't good either. You know what I mean? But it was one of those things that I was like, oh, okay, cool. Like I can, you know,
The only thing about GT that and me and my friends we talk about this a lot. The only thing that I didn't like about GT is because the artwork was great.
it was beautiful, man.
It was fine. But it serviced Goku only. Like everyone else just
That's a good point. So I never even thought of that.
took a back seat. Like they all took like 10 steps back, and Goku was literally the only one that shined that entire arc. And I guess I just fell out of it from that.
And that's cool what Super did because Super kind of highlighted like a lot
Everyone.
of characters in this in the power tournament and all that stuff. Like everyone kind of got their marbles and they got they got their flowers. Like still to this day, I'm so happy and it sounds weird that like Master Roshi got that episode
Hmm.
where like I mean it sucks that he was kind of like fucking having a heart attack or whatever, but like just to see him still get his like flowers, like that he's still a badass. The only one that I kind of felt like, but it's like a meme now, is like Yamcha. Like
Yeah.
Yamcha just gets, but he's just a meme. It's just a dude now. Like Krillin is kind of like the strongest human, and Master Roshi's like his teacher, right? So he
Hmm.
kind of like he's still up there in somewhat, but human wise, or no, what would it be? What would you consider Tien?
What about him?
Would you consider him stronger than Krillin, or would you say Krillin stronger?
Krillin's ass, dude. No, I think Krillin is stronger. I
Yeah,
would think
because
so.
we're just talking like in the sense of like the human beings, right?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, you're comparing these. They're all kind of trash, to be
Yeah,
honest
they're
with
all
you. So
ants
yeah,
and they're all ants amongst lions and shit.
yeah. So I don't even think I've ever compared their power levels because they're all on the same level as far as I'm concerned.
But that's the thing. I kind of like always just try to consider that because there are species, right? Like you have the androids, they're their own set people that like were already set with like these badass power levels. You have Frieza, whatever the fuck he is, and then you have Goku, they're Saiyans. Like everybody's like a different race, but if you break it down in the sense of species, like the humans, it's only like four dudes. It's Krillin, Tien, Master Roshi, and Yamcha. And I guess Gohan, since he's a hybrid, and Trunks, but like that's not really like human, right? But out of them, I would just consider like Krillin was the only one that kind of still played for the team. And he got, he got his marbles too in the tournament as well. Like he did pretty good as long as he can hold on. But
Mm,
the androids did so they had such a great storyline in the power tournament. They had such a great written story.
mhm.
But a lot of the people that don't know that what they did really well in the Super Series and then me doing Kai and going back and all that stuff, like Dragon Ball GT was like super crazy left field. I think Akira Toriyama's son took over it for a bit, right? He was writing stories for it.
I believe so.
Yeah. The only thing that I ever liked from it was the art. I think the art was really, really well done. I think the it was very like the cinema when they would do the films for Dragon Ball.
Mm.
But other than that, GT was just all over the place, all over the place. So when I saw the trailer for what they released at New York Comic Con, I instantly got GT vibes. Instantly
Yeah.
got GT vibes. For
Well,
you
it's
being
it's it's based in the GT era, so yeah.
so, is that? Do you feel like this is like a reboot of the GT storyline, just
It's
kind of
not
like maybe
and
cleaned up?
it's not a reboot. It's not a reboot at all. Like if it was a reboot, I think that would actually be interesting. But it's not
Okay.
a reboot. It's just something that has always happened, but we just didn't know it happened. So it's
What do you
canon.
mean?
The story that we're about to that this web series is going to be based on is something that's already happened. Like it's happened in the GT era. We just never knew the story.
Is it like the multiverse kind of stuff? Is that what it is? Like it's like their
No.
chronological orders.
What do you mean?
Like it would be like in every multiverse, you would consider that there's like always a
Don't
Z
think of it.
saga.
Don't think of it as a multiverse. It's
Okay.
one universe. It's the our universe, the one universe. It's just a story that we didn't know happened.
Oh, okay. I get you. I get you. So what's going to be the story about then?
It's gonna be about. I mean, from what I get, I don't know, but from what I get, from what the leaks were, and from the teaser that I saw, it looks like at some point, um, at some point, there was a wish that was made, and it turned Vegeta and Goku into kids, and so we're gonna be following them, um, as kids again during the GT era.
And you saw the trailer. Did you notice that like everybody was killed children?
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
I
like
I, I
Bulma,
only watched it.
Casey.
I literally only watched it one time.
They even
I
had
don't remember.
what was real cool, and I thought he looked great. Was they turned Satan into a child also, and he doesn't have the mustache. He just looks like he's like a little kid with like big hair. And I was like, okay, Satan's always been a funny dude to me. I like that guy a lot. So like for them to kind of bring him back to the fold and have him in the story, I like that. But do you think that this is going to be a good series? Are you kind of nervous about it? Like, how do you feel being a fan after watching this?
I mean, I'm gonna watch it obviously, and I'll be invested obviously. But again,
Okay.
it doesn't really change anything. Again, if it was something that retconned something, I think I would be more interested. But nothing from GT changes, nothing from Super changes, nothing changes.
Okay. So it's just kind of like an arc, I guess you could say. Maybe
It's
it's just
just
like a little arc.
it's just like a mini story that happened during the GT arc that
Saga.
we
Yeah.
just didn't know. Yeah, that we just didn't know about. That's
Cool.
it.
Cool. Maybe it's a knockout. Maybe they knock it out of the park. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, a lot of the stuff they've been writing nowadays has been pretty solid, no?
Um, from the manga, yeah, everything from the manga has been pretty solid. But dude, that's all anybody really wants. Like they left Super on such a high note that that's really only thing that people want right now. No one's really wanting much more than just what is, because the manga is so far ahead right now that we just kind of want to catch up a little bit to that, and doesn't look like that's gonna happen anytime soon. So I don't know.
And
We'll
by
see. Like,
chance, I just want to ask. I mean, it sounds like you do, but are you reading the manga?
not the manga is done as of the moment. And it's kind of like stuck where it is. I'm looking for. I mean, personally, I'm looking forward to Frieza Black. Like that's what I'm looking forward to seeing. But like as far as anything past that, I'm not caught up.
Okay, cool. What's the name of the new series? Did you get the name? What is it called? Like Diabolos or something?
No, it's Dragon Ball. Dami. It's Dragon Ball Magic. That's what it's called.
Dragon. Okay. And I saw that like Beby's in it. Well, not Bebby, but the guy that's the Majin, the little wizard with the little M on his forehead. I saw that he's in it. So that was a cool series. I think that was my favorite Vegeta moment when he's all Vegetaed out, Majin Vegeta, and does the whole like blowing up of the stadium during the tournament of power and on the Earth and stuff. So that'll be a cool little comeback to it. But yeah. Other than that, what other stuff have you heard from New York Comic Con?
To be honest with you, I didn't hear much. I just know that Marvel has they're starting the Ultimate Universe comics again, so that should
That
be cool.
was. Did you see the trailer for it?
I did not see the trailer for
There
it.
is on Facebook. If you go to their page, they release live motion comic books of the releases that are coming up for certain series.
Yeah.
And they were just talking about this because it just happened in the comic books like a month ago. You had the Reed Richards of the Ultimate Universe, who's called what's his name? It's not Mr. Fantastic. It's like the Map Maker or something like that.
Okay.
He broke out of jail. Let me get his name. Reed Richards Ultimate. Yeah, the Maker. Yeah, he's just called the Maker. Wears this big helmet, kind of like the new Charles Xavier with the big X and stuff. He's been running it for a while. We all kind of seen him in the stories. Well, he was in a prison on the Earth, and he did this elaborate breakout, only to get out and then go around. And since he technically has the DNA of Reed Richards, he was able to go around to like all these different places, Wakanda and the Fantastic Four building and, you know, Shield and everything, and broke in and stole a bunch of stuff that he needed because he he's going back to create a whole new Ultimate Universe.
Okay.
Which if people aren't familiar with it out there in the universe that are listening, the Ultimate Universe was the other comic book series that a lot of comic book readers were very invested in. And then during Secret Wars, they had those two planets, those two universes, I guess you would say, the 616 and then the Ultimate Universe collide, and the destruction of the Ultimate Universe happened, which a lot of people were disappointed with, and a lot of people fucking loved because it was just super exciting to see these stories come together. But a lot of the times, a lot of the readers know that the Marvel Universe, the cinematic universe, is very much more closer to the Ultimate Universe. Mm-hmm. But we just recently got, like I said, like last month, the Maker broke out of prison. He even went to Miles Morales' house in the middle of the night, scared the fuck out of him, and was like, hey, I know we don't talk much, but you and I were very much related because we both come from the same planet. I'm giving you an outreach in case you want to go back, because I'm headed back and I want to know if you want to go back and be part of the Ultimate Universe. And Miles got a really good deal here, so he was like, nah, I'm going to stay here. So he decided to stay on news. And then the Maker gave him a card. It's blank. And he's like, well, if you ever do want to come back, here's my card. You know, just look it up and we'll do it. But it's so weird because it's just blank. Well, he's out there creating the Ultimate Universe again. And it was just announced. I guess it was announced at New York Comic Con then, right? That the Ultimate Universe is coming back. It's going to be getting its own series. It's going to be getting its own comic book again.
Yes.
Dude, I am super excited for the Ultimates comic book. I haven't been excited for a comic book series in a long time, but I'm excited for that one. So are you excited? Did you ever get to read any of the Ultimate series when you were like in the comic books? Like when you were reading?
When I was what?
When you were like reading like the paperbacks, like, you know, getting into comics and stuff. Were you ever into the Ultimate series?
I've never bought any issues of the Ultimate series, or any of the Ultimate series. But I am familiar over the past few years trying to catch up with you guys.
Yeah.
Very, very familiar about the different universes, and you know, I was more of the Spider-Man fan when it came to the Ultimate Universe. So I'm familiar.
Dude, so with that question being asked, are you kind of excited to try to jump into the Ultimate Universe if they're going to recreate it?
No.
You're like, not at all, dude. I am not at all into comic books right now. No, well, I am. So more than likely, I'll probably jump into it. But that's the only thing really I heard from Comic-Con, except for people taking pictures with like Chris Evans.
Yeah, so they had a few actors that showed up. They really couldn't talk about, you know, anything that they have coming up, but they were just there just to, you know, have interviews and take pictures and stuff like that. So yeah, but that was like honestly the highlight of Comic-Con, and that was it. Like a lot of people were shitting on Comic-Con and saying that it was probably the worst one they've ever been to. And you know, but honestly, like, who didn't see that coming? There was really no buzz for it. You knew that the panels, you know, Disney wasn't going to be there, DC wasn't going to be there, Universal wasn't going to be there. You know, a lot of places just weren't going to be there.
Actors are still on strike.
Yeah, you knew that it wasn't going to be anything to write home about.
We got a comment. Big John from Corpus Christi asks, Brian,
yes,
what or who got you into the Dragon Ball series?
Honestly, no one did. The one thing that I love about Dragon Ball is that it's been around since like the 80s and 90s, bro. Like, it's been around for so long. You know, as I was in high school when I got into it, to be honest with you. I just remember, you know, what was it? Toonami and Cartoon Network just always, Adult Swim always having Dragon Ball on. So, you know, late nights, I was always a night person, so whenever they would, you know, come on at night, late at night, I would just watch it, and I just slowly got into it. And then I realized that a lot of my friends were into it too, so then we all watched together.
Nice.
And then you know, I've just been a fan ever since. Yeah.
Very, very good. Very good. Yeah, but other than that, I heard Charlie Cox was just up as Bluey from the kids show, the little dog show Blue or something like that. So he was out there walking around. So I mean, at least you know, it's cool to get some people just showing up. But past New York Comic Con, I wanted to ask you, being that we're in the nature of comic books, what kind of cool stuff have you heard from the Spider-Man 2 release for games?
It just came out yesterday, so only just that the graphics were pretty cool. I haven't heard anybody really spoil anything. I know there's like a what do you call it, like a and like a mid credit scene at the end of the game that
Oh
people
wow.
were talking about. But nothing too much. And to be honest with you, I don't really want to know anything. Like I want to experience that when I play it, so I'm not actively looking for spoilers for the game.
Okay. So you're not one of those guys that like the moment it drops, like you're watching lives or playthroughs or anything like that.
No.
No, that's good. I've heard nothing but like just great reviews. I think people were talking about that. A lot of these games nowadays are coming out like 1080p, 30 frames per second, and that Spider-Man is going to be dropping at 4K, 60 FPS. Like it's going to end with ray tracing, like infinitely turned on, like everything at 60 frames. What console are you going to be playing this on?
I'm still on PS4. So again, like if you have a PS4, even if you have a shit TV, all of those numbers mean absolutely nothing to you.
Yeah, that's not going to really matter too much, right? But that's
Unless you
good.
have like a 4K TV, something that can handle it. Like if you've got a bullshit fucking TV, it's not going to make a difference.
So have you heard if the graphics on the if it's like compatibly pretty good on the PS4? Like on the older
I,
consoles and stuff?
but it wouldn't be, right? Because it's not going because it's a PS4, so it's not gonna be able to hold the 4K
Yeah, it's
resolution
I don't
and
think
stuff.
it won't do ray tracing. It's not going to be able to even do 4K, I think. The thing is a lot of those games are catered more to the newer consoles and what they're pushing with their
Yeah.
processors and stuff.
So
So,
so basically what they're doing is they're actively trying to get people into the next gen
yeah.
consoles and doing it in that way. So I mean, but that's how it's always been ever since the PS5 has come out. That's what people were looking forward to, and not looking forward to, but that's what these companies are trying to do. And not only that, but like the servers on the PS4 have been just dog shit since the PS5 came out. So
Yeah, true.
they have like the little sly ways of trying to get you
Into the next one.
into the next gen
Yeah,
consoles.
consumers, man, the consumer world when it comes to all this entrepreneur stuff, it's wild as shit. But what else? What else? I've heard some really good stuff. I've heard that overall, not explaining anything in the sense of like getting into spoilers or anything like that, that the game, all the mechanics of the game have all been improved. I heard that there's great fast traveling. There is the swinging mechanic has gotten a lot cleaner. A lot of the fighting mechanics have been cleaned up from the previous game, and that's because the previous game was a fucking hit. Also, like I thought it was a fantastic game back in the day. Oh yeah, there we go.
I
Fohund.
know. Nah, it's 400. That's my boy Mike. Yeah, I know, man. I gotta get on that. You're right, buddy.
Yeah, yeah. Well, no, that's all of us, man. Usually, I'm kind of me myself. I'm kind of like a PC guy, but I do play on the PS4 also. I prefer the older stuff. I'm kind of not digging the digital copies thing. I want something more physical. So even with that, like a lot of the world's changing when it comes to that sense. So telling people more, man, they got to get a little bit more into the getting physical copies of their video games nowadays. That digital stuff is going to hurt us way in the future, man. Way in the future. But
Yeah,
yeah, overall,
they're gonna start moving towards everything being digital. So like
digital.
they're not even gonna sell physical copies of shit anymore. So
Are you? Did you hear about Best Buy closing it?
yeah, so Best Buy, like I said, there's not gonna be any more physical copies of any game. So it's all gonna be digital. Which I was talking last night. Like, what do you think this is gonna happen? Like, what do you think this effect will have on like a GameStop or something like that, where they solely rely on you coming there to buy a digital copy of a video game?
Well, I mean, like I think what's gonna. I mean, we already see it. GameStop and all those kind of places, like they're closing down. Like they're closing down like crazy, right? But I think those companies are gonna kind of work later when it comes to like like our guys, like the collectors and all the guys that have their own shops. I think
Yeah,
GameStop's gonna kind of drop from being like this big conglomerate or capital like franchise. That it's gonna kind of drop to more like a mom and pops. Like you can buy the licensing and then you kind of run your own thing, kind
five
of like
years,
a
bro. They're
Canes or
gonna have
whatnot.
they're gonna have 5 years on it. Shelf life of nothing more than 5 years. If that's what happens, and they're not gonna be able to sell physical copies, they're only gonna have like a 5 year shelf life. Like that's it.
But you
You
so
only
you
you
don't think
only
the
you
price of
only
the
you only go to GameStop to buy video games unless you want to go get like novelty shits and retro games. But then like how with a large company like that, how are you gonna base any type of revenue on that?
Well, I mean, it's one of those things like I mean, it's different. Like if you go back to like the like DVD sales, if you go back to like records and cassettes and stuff like that, even VHSs, right? There was never a like the internet. We didn't have the internet the way we do now, where there ends up being like the concept of people being told right now, like, yo, Best Buy's closing all their stores, the digitals, they're not going to be selling movies. And then all of a sudden you get this like spike in physical sales, physical film sales. Everybody goes out and starts clamoring to buy just any film that they can get.
I get that, but when you're talking about Best Buy, you can go to Best Buy to get a TV. You can go to Best Buy to get fucking anything. When you talking about GameStop, the physical name is name is GameStop.
It's so literally meant for that. But that's the thing, like digital copies will kill those off. Like the digital era, when it comes to like no more physical copies. But the prices of the games that are physically like made, that are out in market in stance, the prices will go up. The desire and the what is it? The demand for people to want physical copies is going to make the price like better for those. I think it's just one of those things. Like I don't think right now they've already kind of bare boned.
That's not going to happen at all. Why would you? That doesn't make sense for like as a business. If you're a business and you're now competing with solely digital, why would you raise the price of your physical to make it harder for people to buy your shit?
Well, because of the fact that sooner or later you're going to be in a situation where the companies who own the rights to the digital licensing are going to dictate what you can and can't have on your console at a certain time period, where physical copies are the only way that you're going to have revenue back to those ideas. So like, let's say,
then why go solely digital then?
Well, that's the thing. But why do you go solely digital? Because it forces people into a market where they have to spend money.
They're going to spend the money anyway. They're going to spend the money anyway.
So what's going to happen is they'll do it like the way it was with streaming, where right now streaming services are in this weird like limbo where you got like Netflix and Disney, right? But think of like the 5 biggest streaming services, right? Like right now, if you wanted to find, I don't know, The Crow on stream, where would you go? And it's like, well, shit, I don't know where they have that movie.
Prime Video.
Maybe, right? So you would go to Prime and then Prime will say, they'll say something like, oh, well, you can rent it, right? You can rent the copy, or you can buy it and have it in your hard drive. Mm-hmm. Hard drives, you end up needing to switch out, upgrade, or whatnot. So you end up having to make storages out of them.
You actually just made my point, right? So if I know that I can go to Prime Video to watch The Crow or own it for fucking $10, and then you're telling me that the store down the street has the physical copy and they're going to hike the price up for it because now it's in demand. Why the fuck would I do that when I could just go digital and buy it for fucking $10?
Because there are certain times of the year that movie is not available on Prime. And then you cannot watch it unless it's available. So then if you would have a physical copy, you have like right now, literally yesterday, I was looking for a movie that I really liked back in the day. It's called City of Violence. And I went to go look for it on Amazon Prime, and it's not available. And it's not available on any other streaming service. So I cannot watch that film unless someone available has it on streaming. So there's and it's a movie called City of Violence. I'm not even kidding. It's weird as fuck.
I think the video was a bad example because I can just go on my Fire Stick and watch for free. So like there's going to be, and especially in this day and age where there's so many different avenues to watch something or to own something, I don't think that's a good parallel to a video game, because you can't stream a video. Like I can't just go on my Fire Stick and stream a video game. So it's like for the movie to be a parallel, I don't think that makes any sense personally.
But let's say because even Elizabeth, what's up, Elizabeth from San Antonio? Even in the comment section says, well, Pirate Bay, LOL, the largest streaming service or whatnot. Now again, Fire Stick. Are you talking about using a jailbroken one or just like a regular Fire Stick with all the streaming services you have to pay for?
Either, because you can get Amazon Prime on your regular Fire Stick, or you can get a jailbroken and not pay anything and just watch it whenever you want.
But that's the thing. Like, let us remove the aspect of getting it in an illegal purpose. Okay. Let us just remove that. Let's just by chance. I say,
but why? But why?
Yeah, I was gonna say I have a Fire Stick.
You can't remove that just for the sake of your argument, because that's the reality. Like the reality is again, I would, if I were you and we were having this conversation, I would remove myself from the movie aspect of it and just stick to video games, because when you say movies, I can just watch that shit for free, and I'm not the only
Yeah, you
person
just
that's
catch it
doing
on
that
the
shit.
stream and stuff on the Fire Stick or whatnot.
And that's the world that we're living in. So it's like, if you want to use this movie parallel, I'm just gonna be like, that doesn't make any sense, just from the aspect that I can watch it for free for nothing.
But the thing is even in that aspect, you're still at the mercy of the servers that are allowing these films to be online in that situation. So you're still in the mercy of someone else letting you watch their film by you piggybacking off it, instead of you being able to watch it on your own fruition because you own the copy of it yourself. I mean, it doesn't really sound like a really crazy parallel, and I understand that. But in the sense of, like we were talking about earlier, like David, what is up, collectors, man, in the house? In his situation, he owns a business that takes retro stuff and then resells it. In that world, there is a purpose to have this like movement of these products in this market of freeness, right, or freelancing it. But the thing is like I said, these companies do not want you to own anything physical because they want you to spend money to go back to watch it. It's the only way they're going to keep making money. Let's say you want to watch Last Action Hero with Arnold Schwarzenegger, and you cannot find it anywhere, but you can find it on Amazon Prime and watch it for the $2 rental fee or the $8 rental fee. And we understand this right now, that $2, dude, $2 is easy, man. That's fucking papitas when it comes to money. But what's going to happen is like the way Netflix is going, where Netflix right now just literally said, hey, you know what? We price hiked a couple of months ago. We're going to do it again. And you're going to be good with it because we're going to raise the price, because what are you going to do?
It's not because of what are you going to do? Well, it is partially what are you going to do. But again, and this is what I'm saying. Like, we come in here every week, and every week we talk about these streaming services. We talk about this to length, that none of them are making any money. None of them. They're all in the red. Each and every one of them. The only one that's making money is Netflix. And that's because they're spending almost like $1 billion a year to fucking make these to make these movies. But every last one of these streaming services are in the red. So they're all going to start hiking up the prices, and it's not just because, oh, well, we can do it because what are you going to do? It's because they need the fucking money. It's because they're running a business and they're bleeding money. So that's the reason why they're hiking these prices up, and exactly the same reason why Netflix is hiking the prices up. It's not because they have nothing else better to do and they just want to be evil and want to just take money from you, but it's because like these movies that they're giving to you for this $10, $11, $12 price points, it's expensive, bro. Expensive. Oh yeah, that's not and even, they're not seeing and they're not seeing a return.
They're not seeing the return, yeah. But that's the thing, like they're still like, there's like somewhat of a return because they would have closed down a long time ago. There's something there that's still kind of keeping it going. But the thing is
the only thing that's keeping it going, and I said Netflix probably would have closed down a long time ago, but they had such a head start that they already cornered the market. Like, they cornered the market when it comes to streaming services.
Yeah, because they were going against Redbox, right?
Disney doesn't have to make a fucking penny because you know why? They're fucking Disney. They have fucking money. Like, if they lose money on Disney Plus, that's cool because they can just their parks are up from the past 5 fucking years, so they're making money. But from the streaming services, they're not making money. So they can survive a tank from the streaming services. The same with Universal, the same with Peacock, the same with all these other fucking companies that have streaming services, but they're going to start price gouging you because they need to make some of this money back. But they have investors that they need to speak to.
To speak to, and they have to pay back too. Yeah, they got to get those investors their money back. They got to get their investments back. But in the process of it, that's why you end up seeing a lot of these like weird companies and streaming services doing like bundles and all of this stuff where it's like now you see the Disney bundle comes with like 7 different programs. Now it used to just be 3. I think it used to be like Hulu and ESPN2. And now it's got like 5 or 6 different streaming services that come with it, which is you just fucking creating your own television channels. It's what I've always kind of said. We just reinvented television. And I kind of think this format came from like those mobile games that always had you pay for shit so that you can keep winning and shit. like the pay to win style stuff. Like just streaming services got involved in the same aspect. So if they remove, like I said, if they remove the digital copies or the physical copies of all these digital movies, and they get it to where you have to constantly be repaying to watch them over again because they don't offer them on streaming services, that's again a different venue for them to be able to get more money from the person.
Chris, when was the last time you bought a physical copy of a movie?
Of a movie? Iron
Yeah.
Giant? No, is it Iron Giant? No, Monster Hunter World. I just bought this the other day. Physical copy.
That's a game, right?
That's a video. Well, that's a video game.
I said movie. I said movie.
What was it? Battle Angel Alita? I bought it like at a pawn shop for like $2 or $3.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's not helping the companies that we're talking about. And this is exactly my point. No one's fucking buying fucking physical copies. Like, this entire conversation that we've had is moot because no one's buying them shits anyway. Like, I'm just entertaining this shit, but no one goes to fucking stores and buys physical copies of anything. Like, it's all digital.
But don't you? But okay, I agree with you. There's not a lot of people because it's in the same format and same thought process as the way it was with the DVD player. Same thing as the cassette player and VHS player. When the DVD player came out and it was the next trend, nobody went backwards. Later on, you kind of had these people that came out with like the whole retro idea. But the thing is this is the first time that you hear something when it came to literally just the other day, the Oculus. I have the Oculus VR, right? Yeah. I have the Quest 2. Which I recommend people to get VR. It's a really great thing. VR, the Quest 3 just came out, super great system and all this other stuff. But they removed a bunch of games that you physically cannot have anymore because they're not. Now it's where the companies and the video games are doing what the consoles are doing. Is the moment the game is taken off the market, 5 or 6 months later, they turn off the servers. So that game company then forgets the entire game itself. There's no more first person. There's no more not co-op, but like campaign mode for the series. A lot of it's based on your interaction with other people and their multiplayer opportunities. And then other than that, there's just nothing that comes with it. Same price as a regular video game, $50, $70 or whatever you're paying. But the thing is the Oculus Quest, being that it's part of Meta and being that it's part of, what's that guy's name? The one from Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg. He's like one of the first pioneers that's like, okay, cool. Like if it doesn't work, cut it. We don't need it. And then just tell that company we won't work with them. They want to keep a server going. So you don't have a way to get back into it. So video game developers in the VR are now just cutting servers off. So that would be the equivalent to like Modern Warfare 2 just released, right? Or Modern Warfare 3 is about to release. They did the beta. Say it's successful, say it's good. Oh fuck, I don't even have to go that far. Even past that, forget that. Warzone to Warzone 2. Warzone 1, super popular. A lot of people were playing it. A lot of people are jumping on it. Warzone 2 drops. And everyone jumps off Warzone 1, kind of jump between both and this and that. And then sooner or later they say, well, we're getting rid of Warzone 1. We're cutting the server off because we want everybody on Warzone 2.
Those days of the early 2000s of people waiting online for fucking video games to drop, it's over. It's done. No one's doing that shit anymore. No one's waiting in store lines for fucking hours to buy physical copies of video games. That's not the reality of the world today. And if these companies are starting to go towards digital only, I'm giving places like GameStop a 5-year shelf life.
Yeah, about a 5-year shelf life.
They're not going to
struggling even before that.
They're not going to survive that. I wanted to get to this comment by Elizabeth. She says, I think having a physical copy is better than digital because it's owned. If my hard drive goes, I lose all the games. If I have a physical copy, I only have to worry if my SD card goes. And I do hear you.
Yeah,
I respect that. But I mean, all your games are stored in the cloud. So if your hard drive goes down, all you have to do is just sign back into your account and all your games will be there. Same thing with your movies. If you buy a movie on Amazon Prime, no matter what you're running it off of, whether you're running it off of your your Xbox, your PlayStation, if your PlayStation goes down, that's fine. If your PlayStation goes down, that's fine. All you have to do is log back into your Amazon Prime account, and there it is. So it's like I get where what everyone's saying, but it's not the end of the world. I was talking about this last night. If these companies start going digital only, I'm not going to care because I don't remember the last time I bought a digital copy of a movie, of a video game, of anything. Everything is downloaded and is digital. I've never had to once worry about losing a game, losing a movie. I've had the same movies on Amazon Prime that I've had for the last 10 years. It's going to be fine.
I mean, it's understandable. I mean, it's your the point that you have is extremely valid because that's just where society's going when it comes to technology and entertainment, right? I mean, it's just where it's going. I mean, it's the same thing that happened with cell phones, and it happened with the record player to the cassette player to the VHS to the DVD, like we were talking about earlier. It's just the organic movement of technology when it comes to this stuff.
Yeah, man, don't be scared
People
of that
like
shit, bro.
less clutter. You know, people
Yeah,
like
that's what
less
I'm
clutter.
saying. Like, who, like, those days of me having a rack with all my fucking video games, I don't do that shit anymore, bro. Like, I don't need that. I rather just store it on my PlayStation and just call it a day. I can take my PlayStation and I'll have all my games, all my everything. I'm good. Or I
But
don't. I
that's one part.
I can just log into my friend's PlayStation and watch and play my games, or watch my movies or whatever. I can watch my movies on my phone. That's where we are.
But out of respect too, like there are people out there that just like the old school feeling of stuff.
No,
There's
and if
people that
that's
use
and no,
CRTs
that's fine.
and
If that's your argument, if that's
yeah,
the hill
that's the
that
other
you,
part, right?
if that's what it is, I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
But all the other arguments, the I don't feel secure or whatever, that part, that's something that can be taken care of, I think.
Yeah, there's validity to it, but there's like go arounds. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, there's go arounds and stuff. Yeah, that's understandable. I mean, I get it. I get it though, but
See, that's a good one. Books or Kindle, bro. Give me a Kindle all fucking day. I'm not buying. I
yeah, going
don't
around
mind.
with like 20 books. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't mind buying physical books, especially like because I take my daughter to Barnes and Noble, so I will pick up a book, here and there. But if I can just get it on Kindle, I'd rather just get it on Kindle and just have all of my books on my Kindle.
So you're not like a bookshelf kind of guy, like in your household, kind of have like a
No,
bookshelf and
no. I mean, why when it's made accessible that just to walk around with one Kindle and
just
have
a
all
tablet
your
and stuff.
and yeah, your tablet and have all of your books on there.
I mean, that makes sense. That makes sense. The only thing I would say is your limitation of what you own in that. I mean, minus the fact that if cloud is not a thing that you're using and you're not having to sign up for or pay extra and you don't want to pay that extra amount to have cloud available or whatnot, is you're at the mercy of the limitation of the memory available on your technology, which would be like your game itself, your console, your PC or whatnot. It's just I think it's like the physical. You see, I'm here to fight Brian.
Hop
Physical
on
book
then, brother.
all
Don't
day,
don't
every
don't talk
day.
about it. Don't talk about it from chat, bro. Hop on, bro. I'm in a
Jump
mood today.
forward.
I don't know if you've noticed, but I'm in a mood today. I'm ready to fight everybody today, bro.
Everybody's good.
I'm
Everybody's
arguing everything today,
Brian's
bro.
hands are rated E for everyone today, dude.
I'm ready. I'm ready to take anybody on today. Nah, but
That's so
seriously, no.
funny.
Like again, like I get it. Listen, I get it. And I always admire people that when I go over their house, they have just a full shelf of books, and I
Yeah.
just get anxiety looking at that. I'm like, dude, just give me my Kindle, and I'm good. I'm
No
good.
bagels for you, man. No
No
bagels.
bagels. Listen, damn. I probably might have talked myself out of bagels from Elizabeth, but that's okay because you know what, Elizabeth, if you ever are in the New Jersey area, I will for my outburst that I had today, I will supply you with the bagels from New Jersey. So
Yeah.
I'll go
Yeah.
around that.
Sweet, sweet, sweet. Okay, so going back, I know we kind of went on a tangent there, but it's an important tangent because yeah, it's been in the news these last couple of days about the digital copies and Best Buy closing down is something that's very important. Spiderman 2, but are you buying though? Hashtag.
I will eventually buy that shit digital, by the way.
Excellent. Yeah. Me, I'm gonna probably wait on it a bit. I can live without it. I didn't get to play the Miles Morales one. I waited until it
Oh,
got
you still
sold on.
haven't played it. That's right. I forgot
Yeah.
about that.
Well, I mean,
You should
I
probably
think
get
it's
on
cool.
that.
I just think it's a little bit too they fucking made his electric powers super like Thor OG powers and shit, but I do like the story. I do like everything they've done with him. I've kind of caught up with the story itself, but yeah, the only thing that I find fun in that is I just like to swing around the city. I don't really care
Yeah.
about saving people too much. I just like the adventure of just like finding new things without I think it's such an endeavor to be able to make a game of that size, that venture where you get to see everything like almost in like city view. Like you get to almost experience the city itself, even though you never been there. Like just playing the game, you can actually know places really well. I think that's super impressive. I've always found that as like an artist, as a person who dwells in that kind of stuff. I always found that kind of spectacular, as a matter of fact. But yeah, I don't want to focus too much on this. I know we've already talked a lot about it, but onwards to the next part of the conversation. This is something super interesting. So, I gotta ask this. The director of Kick-Ass, I think his name's like Matthew Vaughn, recently came out in an interview and said that he himself would be down to do a reboot of Star Wars, like reboot the entire thing.
Kiss ass director.
Yeah, well, the movie Kick-Ass director. Oh, Kiss Ass director. My bad. Let me fix that real quick, just in case.
So for all of you that are watching and listening, if you thought that Chris,
I do this shit all the time, guys.
He does that like in writing form as well, by the way. So just so that you guys are with.
That's awesome. Okay, so Matthew Vaughn recently came out and did an interview and said openly that he would be willing and would want to take on the venture to do a Star Wars reboot. All the way back to having a Luke, having a Vader, doing the whole remake. How do you feel that someone, like, hearing someone would want to take on that venture of rebooting like the whole motherfucker, dude? Like the whole motherfucker. How do you feel about this?
I mean, if my face expressions didn't,
it sells it all right now.
All right, so here's the thing. Why?
Oh man. Why? Well, I mean, okay. Why is a good question. One, hard pass. Hard pass is my favorite so far. Fucking epic hard pass.
Yeah.
Less for kids. Okay, more gritty. Okay, I get that. But in the last several years, I would say, like, let's just call it a decade, right?
Do you know what that does though? Like before you start, like,
do
you know there's been Star Wars fans for what, like 50 years?
50 fucking years,
like
almost.
50 fucking years, and you're telling me that you want to
right now, 50 years later,
like you want to reboot that? I think there's just some IPs that are just too far,
I mean, even with that concept, like they still haven't even fucking finished the story.
It's not over. Yeah.
Yeah, like they're still like, oh man, let's still fuck with it a little bit more.
And it's not like anyone is like, and trust me, I am, I love the toxic fans and love listening to them just bitch about shit. It's not the fact that Star Wars fans want a reboot. They just want what they have to be better. That's all they're asking for. And they're asking for people that are, involved to be involved. You know what I'm saying? Like the Star Wars fans aren't bitching that it's all like it just needs to be started over. That's not what anyone's asking for. They're asking for what they are getting to be Star Wars and for it to be cool. That's it.
Michael Betancourt comes in with probably the most interesting comment, and he says, "This is a half century worth of material that the dude from Kick-Ass wants to replace. The fuck does he think he is?"
And come on, bro. Like, listen, I am a fan of Kick-Ass, just like the next person. I loved Kick-Ass. I never watched the second one because I don't do that to myself. But I don't think the guy that made Kick-Ass is going to be
is coming up to that fucking pedestal, right? Like if he's going to come
up
to
Star Wars, the Star Wars fandom is so toxic. They would chew this man up and spit him out on his first idea, bro. He would not stand a chance whatsoever. See, the only reason why I give Kathleen Kennedy any type of credit is because she has been through the fucking storm. Like they have put that woman through fucking hell. And that lady has balls. She needs to get fired, but she's got balls. I will give her that.
Yeah, she's not good, but she got balls.
Yeah.
She but like it's so crazy because like I thought I was going nuts earlier when I heard this, because I was just like, nah, buddy, you don't want to do that. Like, you don't want to do that. That's just like the dumbest idea I've ever heard. It's just so weird. It's just the weirdest shit I've ever heard.
It's the most toxic fandom literally on the planet. Like, I don't think anyone is ready just to dive in that pool. Like, he's gonna get chewed up just for this.
Kick-Ass.
You're gonna get chewed up just for this statement. So like, just relax, buddy.
Okay, onwards to the next. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't a fucking crazy person. Brian, speaking of kick ass and comic book films that are a little bit like on the edgy side, how has been your take on Amazon's Gen V series?
I like it. I like it. I think I've been reading a lot. I've been seeing a lot of people just shit on this show, but
Really?
I'm very interested. Yeah. Not the most recent episode that just dropped today or yesterday,
Okay,
whenever,
6, I think.
but 5 started a little bit slow for me. But I want to say about 25 minutes, 30 minutes left of the episode, I was glued.
Invested.
And then this episode was very interesting. Like this most recent one has been very, very interesting. And I'm at the point where I want to see how this ties into The Boys as the show. Because now they're fucking with, trying to get rid of, spoiler alert, but they're trying to get rid of, it seems like they're trying to get rid of the
Soups, right?
superhumans. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's very cool. It's very this one to me has been a lot closer to like the X-Men, right? Like the way they've handled the X-Men series with
I can
everybody
see
with
that.
others. And this one was very much like a Jean Grey
Definitely Jean Grey.
Days
Yeah.
of Future Past kind of like episode. So I'm kind of digging it, man. I'm digging the way the show's been going. I like that they've kind of like dialed back a lot of like the perversion of the comic book series, because like the comic book series handles these kids like way worse. Like that one way worse. And this one has a lot of like, I wouldn't say relatability, but I would say like I'm really, really enjoying the way that these episodes are coming along right now.
Yeah.
It's something that I kind of look forward to a little bit more every week.
Yeah.
A lot more than I did Ahsoka. I'll tell you that much, dude.
Yeah. Rob says, I wonder if it takes place after The Boys a couple years or something. I think it's mentioned
I
a
think
few
it's up to
times.
date, right?
It's a little bit after. It's basically right after the last season of The Boys, because they reference the what happens after that last season. So
That's right. Starlight. They mentioned when Starlight comes out too, right?
They
When
they
she kinda,
mentioned Starlight. They mentioned the Nazi chick. They mentioned
Homelander killing the dude in
even
the protest.
even in this episode they talk about what's his name,
Soldier Boy.
Soldier Boy, and him being like a Russian,
Oh, that's right. Yeah, yeah.
spy
Because
type.
I was gonna say, well, no, they mentioned her as like that. It was her like crush growing up. But then, yeah, I do remember they were like, bro, they just said that you were like a Russian spy, and he's
Yeah,
like, well, I'm not a fucking. I
they
only bleed red, and he's like, not commie red, but like,
yeah
that
they
dude.
they do acknowledge post The Boys. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's after.
So yeah, it is pretty caught up. It's pretty caught up, man. It's so good so far. What character are you really enjoying? Like, what interactions have you pretty much enjoyed?
I really didn't like Marie Moreau. That's her name, Marie
Marie Moreau.
Moreau.
Cool name
But
though.
this,
Cool
but
name.
I will. You know what? I want to say that in this episode, everyone acted their ass off. I think everybody acted their ass off.
Dude,
It wasn't
I was not a big fan of that Jordan cat.
the
But like in
Georgia.
these
Yeah,
last couple of episodes, I've been like, damn, these fucking people are cool. Like this whole the power set, like the way that the way they interact with people, like just everybody has this charm to them.
the
Like
brother,
Sam.
Sam. I know I've seen him in a few other things,
Okay,
but that kid is a star.
he's doing.
That
Dude,
kid is a star, yo.
everyone's doing a fucking phenomenal job. Like
And you know what? And I apologize if he's like a big actor that I just don't really know. I know
you
I've seen him in a
recognize him or
few other
something?
thing. I know I've seen him in a few other things, but that
I'll
kid
check
is
him
a
out right now.
fucking star, bro.
Now let me check him out right now. Gen V Sam. Let's see. Why did I fucking? I should have just gone to cast, right? But I will tell you much, man. I am digging the Andre cat,
Andre, who the fuck is Andre?
the main kid, the main guy that has psychic powers, the one that was the best friend.
Okay, yeah.
Dude,
Andre.
he's a really good actor. He reminds me of the dude that was in I can't remember the newest movie, Tenet. He reminds me of the actor from Tenet.
Oh, David Michael Washington or something like that. David Washington.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, so he was in Jeffrey Dahmer.
He
Sam was
was.
in. He played
Okay.
he was a blonde jogger. He
Okay,
was in,
yeah. I know I've seen him in something
yeah,
recently.
yeah, Dahmer. That was the recent one, and Caviar
I don't know.
and Two Little Boys, but those are like shorts.
Yeah,
So it's probably going to be more of like you probably remembered him from Dahmer.
yeah.
Yeah, he was like a dude in this. He was like just a jogger, I guess. But still, like great, like I said, like everyone's been fucking knocking it out of the park. And not only that, if you end up going back to the Boys series, when Huey breaks into some facility and he's looking through some files, Marie Moreau comes out in it,
Hmm.
like her picture and her acting, I guess, headshot. They used it as like a dossier when they were getting this show started. So yeah, really, really good. Can't wait. And I know just today it got announced that it's going to be getting hit with a season 2. So even
I can
better.
see that.
Super,
Yeah,
super relatable. But yeah, so far, my opinion, I give it a solid 8 out of 10
I would say
right
that.
now. I feel like it's a good show, like to break into. Again, more adult orientated. If you have children, like really don't like let them watch a lot of the earlier shows. Like actually, the last 2 episodes really haven't been too
I want to say the
much.
last shocking thing I probably saw was the dick explosion, but I mean, it hasn't really been much after
It hasn't
that.
been crazy, crazy, right? Not like
Yeah,
boys crazy,
yeah.
but that's what's actually really, really cool. Um, yeah. And as I know, I wanted to ask you something else, but it's 10:40. Let's just jump into the last part of our conversation for today. Um, but yeah, like we said, Gen V, check it out if you haven't. Really, really worth it. Onwards into the next show that we've all been kind of enjoying and checking out and kind of getting into. And we'll talk a little bit of spoilers and stuff like that. Loki season 2, episode 3. Brian, I didn't have you on the show last week. We had the amazing Michael Betancourt on the show with us.
Yes.
Another member practically of the Average Boys. He's going to get his own cartoon character soon. You watch. Um, I gotta ask, man. Have you been liking the Loki series? We're 3 episodes in. I didn't get you last week for episode 2, so we got to let it cook a little bit. But
Mhm.
how have you been feeling about the episodes?
I like them. I think they're a little bit jumpy. They jump a lot, but I'm really enjoying it. I don't know if I'm enjoying it as much as the first season. Um, but they got me. I'm interested to see exactly where it's gonna go. Um, I think the acting has been really good. There are a few characters that I am interested to see their real roles. Like we're halfway through the season, and um Ouroboros, for one, I want to know because they're going out of the way to make it known that he's a bigger part in this.
Yeah,
Um, so I kind of want to see where that leads. Um, and then listen, this episode we got Jonathan Majors. I think Jonathan Majors did a great job. I saw a
phenomenal
lot of
job.
people saying that he didn't do a good job. But I again, I'm a Jonathan Majors fan. I thought he did great. The story again, it's good. It took a very hard left with the Miss Minutes thing.
Very
Um,
weird, right?
that was yeah, that's a little freaky AI, but yeah, man, I'm enjoying it. They have me. I want to see where the last 3 episodes, where they go.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah. I think, in my opinion, episode 1 was good. Episode 2 was a little flat, and episode 3 has been a pretty good jump back into getting me back to being excited. I kind of don't feel the Sylvie character yet in what she's doing.
Yeah,
Like,
I don't think they're doing a good job with her in this
yeah,
in
it's
this
kind of
season.
like it's falling a little flat. Last episode, she was chilling out. She really didn't care. Like for her to go to the TVA, see everything falling apart, understanding like the bigger nature of it, and then for her just to be like, you
Mhm.
guys are all stealing free will and all this other stuff. Like, I don't, I'm not feeling it yet. That part of the show, I'm not feeling yet. I feel the gravitas of like the TVA. Like, I kind of feel the importance of the TVA more than I did the first season.
Okay.
Like, if that makes sense. Like, I understand why they're important,
Mhm.
and the way that they've written the show, like it's very like a Rick and Morty like loop. I kind of understand why, and it makes me wonder if this is the way they wrote it on purpose, on how Morbius was so comfortable with Loki because he already knew all of this stuff from when they first met in the past. And it's like a bigger loop because in the very first season, Mobius is like 100% trusting that this is the Loki he's been looking for. And then in the ending of the first season, he gets sent back in time, runs into Mobius, and doesn't know who he is, and then comes back into the future and runs back into him, and they're back to being best friends again.
It's
Do you know what I'm talking about, right? Does that make sense?
yeah, but it's not a linear line that Loki was on. He went into a different universe. That was a branch universe that he went in where he ran into the other Mobius and the other
Well,
the other
no, because in the second season, the first episode explains that he's traveling between the past and the future, and that the past he's traveling to was when Kang was more of a prevalent god.
You're right.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden he disappears. He deletes everybody's memory, and then makes it where just the TVA and the time variance or whatever those three things were from the first season, that they were the ones in charge. But the Mobius from the very first episode of season 1 knew exactly who Loki was. So that means that loop has been going that far back.
Well, they said it was eons. This loop thing has been. They said that Ravonna Renslayer has been around for eons, and so has all of them.
Yeah,
Mobius. They've been around for a very
very long time. And it's super crazy because like I wonder if from the first, and this is like I'm talking about like really good writing, that the episode 1, season 1, when Mobius meets Loki and is already infatuated with him, knows who he is, knows all his secrets, knows all his his mannerisms and things. If he knows him because he was already his friend and knew that they sent him back. Does that make sense? Like to the start of the paradox.
But then wouldn't that mean that Mobius would have to know what the fuck's going on?
That's the thing. Like I know because he's barely in his timeline. He's barely reaching the point when the Loki shows up. You see, like, man, it's super confusing. It's very.
I don't think it's confusing. I think you're confusing yourself. I don't think he knows who Loki. I think he knows who Loki is because he's a hunter, or he just logistically he knows who and what Lokis are. So he knows who he is. He doesn't know him because he met him in a past life and they're friends and they're buddies. It's not because of that. Like his demeanor in the first season is not that they were buddies. They became buddies, but it was strictly the relationship was strictly I need to bring you in and this is my job. Like that was a job for him. They weren't buddies when they first met.
We can't think that way because of the way it was with Ouroboros. When they go to Ouroboros' place, he already knew who they were, even though they didn't know who he was. And that was from the eons ago.
And that was because, again, this is just us theorizing because we don't know. But from what I'm grasping is that Ouroboros is a bigger character than we know. And these other characters, they've had their minds
rewiped over and over again.
A lot more than I would expect Ouroboros. Ouroboros is like the engine of the TVA. You can't keep wiping his mind because now your TVA
because he's important.
Yeah, because your TVA is fucked. So it's like you can't wipe his mind. So yeah, he's gonna remember him from eons ago, and these other people aren't gonna know who it is. Yeah, it's like that's the reason why, because it's a job. It was a job for Mobius. He's met multiple Lokis. He knew who Loki was because of that. It wasn't because he met him in a different time and they were cool and they were buddies.
But that's wrong to say too, because Loki named Ouroboros. He named him Obi before everybody was there. That's the thing. This specific Loki named Ouroboros. Like he named him Obi. And that Ouroboros knew who Loki was because that moment when he was time skipping, right?
He didn't know. He did.
Yes, he did. He knew him in the present.
When he walked in, because he goes because he goes into the past and meets him, and that's how he knew him in the future. That's the only reason why.
That's the paradox of the situation, is that Loki was there before the book, before he knew about the time skipping, because at that moment he was going back and telling him that he was time skipping. Because Ouroboros didn't know he was time skipping when he went back in time. It's the thing is that's the crazy part about writing paradoxes. Now it kind of brings this whole loop. Like
I think you're making too much of this. I don't think it's that confusing. I think that he only knew him because Ouroboros did not know who Loki was at all before he showed up.
Until he went back in time.
Until he went back in time, which would explain why he would know who he was in the present because he met him in the past.
But he knew his name before he time skipped to the past.
No.
He knew it. Yeah, he did, didn't he?
He knew Mobius's name because they met in the past.
And Mobius didn't know him.
And Mobius didn't know who he was.
Because he had his mind wiped.
Yeah, he didn't know who Loki was. He never knew who Loki was. The only way he got familiar with Loki is when Loki went in the past and explained to him what was going on. So now in the present, he knew more about what was going on.
This show is so fucking wild.
Again, I think it's just you.
I think it's just me. Maybe I'm freaking out.
Yourself.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm trying to follow you. Like, what the fuck is he talking about? But yeah, no.
Can you imagine? Because the idea is this Kang that they went back in time, timely, right? Is supposed to be the one who remains, right?
Yeah.
And there was in this story, it tells you that Renslayer is given the book or the apparent book of the time of the Kangs to give to Timely as a teenager. Then he creates his stuff, and then later on becomes the Kang at the end of time or whatnot. And it's supposed to be the exact same one because Miss Minutes is like, you're exactly who he is supposed to be. You do everything the way he does. You're an exact copy of him or whatnot. Plus,
I don't know. Maybe. I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't turn out that way. Maybe, he picked this specific variant of himself because he may turn out that way. He may not. I think we'll find out shortly.
That's the freedom of will and all that stuff idea, right?
Yeah.
That's what the Council of Kang shows. But that's the thing, like we don't understand because they're never really like straightforward on how this all works. Marvel's always been confusing with this stuff, which is like the idea of there should be two Captain Americas because Thanos got wiped out in that universe. So there's no Thanos to create the Infinity Saga and the first blip and all this other stuff. So in the current MCU, there should be two Captain Americas, which we talked about before. But they're never really consistent with this. So they always have this, like, when they do write it, they MacGuffin into this idea that it's like, oh, okay, cool. Like, this is the way it is right now. But in the moment watching this, I kind of was like, oh, this isn't a multiverse thing. This is a timeline thing. And this is them creating a paradox, which is like the constant reveal that Kang is always present because every Kang is going to get that book in every universe and in every timeline. It's always going to go that way, which is why Kang was like, well, you may get a worse version of me when he was talking to Sylvia about it. But yeah, like you were saying earlier, Jonathan Majors did a phenomenal job with the Victor Timely character. I really like the side story of this character and how they wrote it out compared to the other Kangs and the other Quantumania.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of feel like this one had more like, I don't know, personality than the other three Kangs from the Quantumania film at the end. The story is going pretty good. Like I said, Sylvie, I'm not really sold on yet, and I don't really know what her character development's going to be for the rest of the show. But how do you feel like the show's going right now, and how many more? Let me check how many episodes we get next.
It's only 6. So it's 6 episodes. We're halfway through. We're in episode 3. So there's only 3 more left. And I think that's my only knock of the show is that again, just like every other Disney Plus show, they're gonna just try to cram a lot of shit
at the end
into 3 episodes. And I think they should have taken their time with this one.
I like the production. I like the quality of the show itself. All, like you said, all the actors are knocking it way out of the park. It's all really good. Like I said, the Sylvie thing's a little bit dry, but yeah, what you guys were saying earlier, I'm still so invested on what Miss Minute is. Like, I get it. She's an AI that was created by He Who Remains. But like you said earlier, and like people in the comments too, like she went like crazy real quick, like just out of left field almost.
Mm-hmm.
Like I thought that was wild. Do you think, especially with the way the show ended, that what do you think is going to happen between these two characters, like the Ramona Renslayer? She said, I have something, but it's going to make you real mad. What do you think? Bro, David says Obi is not so bad.
What do I think is gonna happen? I think
What do you think the big reveal is going to be?
I think the big reveal is that Ravonna Renslayer was probably ruling the timeline with uh He Who Remains, and then at some point he kicked her
So,
out
like the
and
boat?
wiped her mind.
Like,
Well, yeah, yeah, because they kind of alluded it to Victor not wanting a partner in the scene where he was selling his machine,
mhm,
and someone said, "I want to partner with you." He said, "Nope, no partners." When Ravonna mentioned it on the boat, he kicked her off the boat when she mentioned partners. And so I'm thinking that, at some point with He Who Remains, they were partners, and then he had to like remove her. And that's something that he wiped from her memory. And I think that she's gonna be pissed about that.
okay, that's a good point. It's really crazy. Like Mike puts that we do know the Renslayer comic book origins, so I'm anticipating that. I think her, if I'm not mistaken, her story was that she was the daughter of someone that was in power, and Kang had traveled to the past, kind of like wooed her into getting into a relationship. But that's because I don't, man, it's so weird. I can't even remember what her origin story was.
Her origin story, I mean, I don't know, not really her origin story, but like they were a couple, and I think she just I don't think she loved him as much as he loved
He
her,
loved her.
and that pissed him off. And so that kind of ensued whatever happened between them. And it was one of those situations where they were lovers in each universe, but they were just never ultimately together. And I think that's the reason. That's where we're headed.
Yeah,
I
that's what
think
I mean. I can get that.
I think like they were partners, or they were
But
ruling
there was
together.
a moment that he like fucked her over, right? Or she
Well, I
fucked
think
him over or something like that.
well, I think that's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Like they were together, they were partners or lovers or whatever, and then ruling together, and
Mhm.
then he fucked her over and wiped her mind and made her just a part of the TVA.
Yeah. But I know that there's a part later on that she ends up like being like mind wiped and like sent through a portal, and he goes like on a search because he's just like can't find her, or she's like running from him. Like
Yeah, like
you
like I
remember, right?
said,
It's real weird. Like it's
yeah,
just
like
a
she,
weird
like
love story.
again, she didn't love him as much as he loved her. So yeah,
Yeah.
there was some like a chase, some type of shit. Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
that's a
all
good
over
point.
the
They screw
carpet.
each other over throughout the multiverses and timelines. Like I know that later on he focuses a good amount of his time on searching for her through the timelines, and he can't find her. But that's because she's like she remembers and she's physically, purposely hiding from him, and she's like joining other people that are fighting him, and then he'll see her in the battlefield, and then be like, "Oh, my love," or whatever, and she's like, "Bye, bitch," or whatever, and she just like ghosts his ass and like just disappears again. Oh, that's a good point. It's very Sindel and Shao Kahn depending on the game. Yeah, that's
Pretty
very true.
much,
Yeah, pretty
pretty
much.
much.
I can
Yeah.
see that. I know a lot of people. I heard one of them saying that that they were going to say that she was a clone. Do you think there's a possibility that she's like a clone, or like that he's been like
I
shafting the variants, or
no, I think one of the one of the theories I heard is that she's a variant of He Who Remains. That's what I heard.
huh? What do you think of that? I don't like that too much.
I mean, I wouldn't mind it, but how many times are we going to see people fucking themselves or in love with themselves on
Yeah,
the
that's
show?
kind of already weird with Loki and Sylvie,
Yeah,
because I'm kind of like I'm a little over that from the second episode.
yeah.
The meetup again was super underwhelming. Where like they wrote her as like this, whatever, bro. Like I just want to work at McDonald's. Like leave me alone.
Maybe because they made a point of emphasis to not highlight it, because they're going to do that with Ravonna and
Oh
He Who
man, dude,
Remains.
that's a good point. Fuck. I really hope they don't go that way.
Yeah, me too. I like the one where she was ruling with him and he fucked her over and stuck her ass in the time in the TVA.
Michael Betancourt says it is playing with yourself if you
Absolutely.
sleep with yourself. Oh, is it
Absolutely.
playing with yourself? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Probably
Without
the
a doubt.
weirdest, the
without a
weirdest
doubt,
self-love
without a
antidote
doubt.
right out of Marvel, if you think about it.
Yeah.
Episode 3, you got 1, 2, and 3 all together. Where would you put your rating on this story right now, comparing that we only have 3 more episodes of this?
I probably am gonna give the show and this episode probably the same. I think as of right now, it's maybe like a 6.57, with the potential of really knocking this out the park. I think I'm enjoying it so far. I think they're not taking it as serious as the first season. Um, I'm not saying I like it or dislike that, but it's noticeable, let's say. So I'll probably give it like around a 6.57, depending on the day that you ask me. And yeah, we'll see how these next 3 episodes pan out.
Yeah, for me, I'm probably going to stay. It's about a 7 for me. I think it's going okay. There's some things that aren't hitting, but I think everybody's doing a phenomenal job. I think the Obi character is really cool. He's just mysterious enough for me to be invested into him that I just need to know what he is.
Mhm.
To where, like, right now, my brain is like, okay, he wrote the TVA.
It's fucked up, Dave.
He's going to be probably the guy that created a Miss Minutes, like, or gave the format for it for He Who Remains to create that Obi did for him or whatnot, or gave him the idea of it. There is a part of me that's kind of like, well, what if he is literally Ouroboros, like the actual like mythological creature Ouroboros, like reincarnated as this human, as equivalent to the 3rd episode where they literally had to tell Victor Timely that he's being chased by the actual Nordic god Loki. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of weird when they admitted it, where it was like, oh, you're being chased by 2 actual gods of mischief. And it's like, oh, okay. And this guy's name's literally Ouroboros. Like, what if he's literally that? Like, what if he's literally that character? And he is the paradox of the TVA. And it's like you said, he's kind of like the engine that keeps it going in a loop, a continuous loop over and over again.
Yeah, you got to figure He Who Remains could have probably sent back any artifact back in time to his variant to make sure that he became He Who Remains in that timeline. And he sent back a version of the TVA handbook, which was
Made by Ouroboros.
Ouroboros.
Even enough that Kang was like, oh, I have to meet this man, the man who wrote this book, and it's like, damn, dude, like someone that Kang the Conqueror is enthralled to meet and is impressed by.
Yeah.
That's huge in the comic book. He doesn't like anybody in the comic books, just himself.
Yeah, so like, I think they're going out of their way to make it known that Ouroboros is
a big thing.
Is a big thing, yeah.
Shit, I never even thought. What's up, fools? What's up, professional horny boy? That's wrong hole, Rick. That's wrong hole. That's the man right there, man. Thank you for jumping, man. It's good to see you, man. Hopefully you're doing good, brother. Ouroboros is infinity. Oh, that would be, whoa, man, that would be wild. If he was infinity, like literally from Thor, Love and Thunder, the fucking god, cosmic entity, infinity, dude, that would be wild as fuck. If that's who he was, if that was like the incarnation of infinity. Yo, that's a really great theory. That's a really, really great theory. Anything in particular that you're waiting for the next episode for them to reveal that'll kind of like solidify the episode for you?
I would just like to see more Jonathan Majors. I mean, true. I'm assuming we're going to see him in the TVA and him trying to figure out how to stabilize the whatever that machine is that they're using or whatever. So I'm looking forward to seeing more of that, and I'm interested to see where that character takes a wrong turn. If
like overall in general, like that's Victor Timely character.
Yeah.
For me, I'm kind of more invested in the idea of how they're going to save the TVA, like what they're going to do with it, how they're going to fix that machine, like what it does.
Time loom. There you go.
Time loom.
Yep.
I'm really personally not invested in what Sylvie does to Renslayer, or like even the Miss Minutes and Renslayer thing at the end of time. Like I'm really not like. There's a part of me that really doesn't care too much about that. But I just want to see what they're going to do. Sylvie's kind of like a fart in the wind right now. She just kicked that chick into the doorway into the end of time and kind of just like fucked off and did whatever she wants. Like she's so disconnected from the TVA and the story of that. She can go work at McDonald's again. I could give a rat's ass what she does. I think it's cool how she uses the time thing though on her wrist, the one that the end of time had. But yeah,
that scene where she used the temp pad, the temp pad from He Who Remains and kicked Ravonna into,
that was pretty cool, right?
Like that was some very Marvel shit. Like
Yeah,
that was something that to me it jumped out at me as something that you could have read that in a comic book.
Yeah, that was kind of like, I thought that was a really cool scene. And then the other thing was I really dug the Buster Douglas, not Buster Douglas, well, Buster Douglas was the guy's name, or Charlie Chaplin guy. I can't remember his name. Just I remember Buster Keaton, not Buster Douglas. Buster Douglas was a boxer. Buster Keaton.
No. Can you explain to me that thought process of going from Buster Douglas?
It was the first
Charlie. No, you said Buster Douglas and you said Charlie. Charlie Chaplin.
Well, okay, so Buster Keaton was another comedian that was very much like Charlie Chaplin back in the day. And I just remember his name was Buster. I could not remember his last name. And Buster Douglas was the first name that popped into my head. I'm telling you, dude, I got a bunch of this knowledge. It's all rattled up in my head, though. But Buster Keaton was the whole entire scene of them chasing each other in the alleyway during that time period. Like Buster Keaton and Charlie Chaplin were very much the film action sequences back in the day. Jackie Chan even did a remarkable scene in a film a while back that was in the same format, which was like Project One, I think a Project One Star or something like that. It was a film back in the day, but it's that whole like very Charlie Chaplin era, riding bikes in alleyways and doorways opening up and slipping and falling and stuff. Like I really enjoyed that chase scene. I thought it was a really cool nod to that like era of filmmaking back in the day. But yeah, not Buster Douglas. So. But yeah, dude, I'm telling you though, come on, man.
Yo, I had my composure. I was fine. Listen, if you just stop saying Buster Douglas, I won't laugh. Just stop saying it, yo.
I'm gonna say it one more time. Look, it's in the comment section. Fucking Michael Betancourt says Buster Douglas stands right beside the director of Kick-Ass in Chris's mind. I'm telling you, dude, it's wild, man. I need one at least every week. But yeah, I really enjoyed that in this episode. I really enjoyed that whole action sequence. I was not a big fan of the Marvel song in the beginning, like the piano.
I dug it.
Did you like it? There was something about it. I just got really fucking annoyed. I was like, oh man, I don't need this. This is already gonna fuck it up for me. But yeah, I didn't like it too much. But yeah, everything else was pretty good. Brian, what do you got planned for the weekend, my man?
The weather's gonna be shit. So
shit.
Probably nothing.
What you got? Is it real cold or is it?
The temperature is dropping. It's still it's still warm throughout the day, but it's just been raining. It's been raining a lot over the past couple weekends. So that's it, man. It's been raining all day today. I think it's supposed to rain tomorrow. So I'm probably just gonna keep my ass inside the house. How about yourself, man?
I got a 2.5 hour drive tomorrow. I'm gonna be headed out to Laredo with our boy Georgie. George in the comment section that pops in every now and then. We have a wedding. We're gonna photo shoot and video and all that stuff. So yeah, man, I got all that going on. You still thinking about Buster Douglas or what?
No, Rob put in our chat the screenshot of Kiss Ass Director.
Okay. Kiss Ass Director.
Rob, I love you for that. I'm gonna be.
Oh, you gotta understand. I had that written down like the whole fucking evening, and I didn't even realize I wrote Kiss Ass instead of Kick Ass. But it's okay. I can get away with at least one per week. I get at least one per week. I got Kiss Ass and Buster Douglas this week. Man, dude, that's so bad. Well, I have that going on. So we're gonna be doing a video and photo shoot for a wedding all day tomorrow, and then make my way back to the valley. And like I said before, I'm doing a really nice logo for a company, and got some really good compliments on my work, and really kind of pushed me in the right direction mentally. And yeah, man, I feel great. I hope that you have a great weekend, Brian. I hope that everyone out there that's listening to us that joined us in for this cool, quick, I think we did pretty good on the time episode. I was telling Brian offline that I want to try to get this, like maybe bringing the show down to at least an hour and a half, maybe. We're going to try to see if we can start formatting this into the show a little bit more. We do go for a very, very long time, and I do understand this, but being able to give it to you and in a better format and doing highlights and improving our overall program when it comes to like our YouTube channel and the way we want to invest into it. We want to make some cool changes, and yeah, we want to improve and get better so that way we can bring you guys again fun content. Again, just ways that we can kind of get together and laugh and do great things. We do appreciate every one of you. To all our extraordinary listeners, we appreciate you guys. And if you've been this long with us, don't forget, we have Spotify, we're on YouTube, we're on every format that you could think about finding a podcast and a show. Please go out there, subscribe, like, do really cool stuff for us, and spread the word. Let your friends know that we're around and we're doing things. Brian, always a pleasure having this conversation with you. I enjoy coming every week. Can't wait to hopefully get you in the Valley, coming up hopefully in a couple, maybe months.
I don't know if you guys are ready for me out there.
Yeah, man, the Valley would be. You got to teach us how to be normal ass people and not be fucking weird villages and towns.
Furthest from normal.
Can you imagine if you come over here and everyone's like, oh, outsider, oh, someone from the technology world, someone from a real town and city. You know what I mean? Fucking just crazy shit, dude. But yeah, man, we'll get you soon, and then maybe hopefully one of these days I get out there, man. And get out over there, man, and we can.
I would love that. That
get bagels, bro, or whatever you guys do over there. Maybe I can get a bagel. I'm gonna do what the Ninja Turtle said, and I'm gonna go with a biscuit, egg, and cheese.
Biscuit, egg, and cheese. All right, bro, get out of here, man.
All right, guys. You guys have a good night. Thank you guys again for tuning in this Friday night with the Average Boys podcast. We appreciate every one of you. Have a good weekend and be safe. Peace.
Peace.